Good evening, Gridiron Gang back in the building. It's your boy Big Jeff, Coach Rizzo as they call me. Back here with a little heat from you. We're gonna call this episode 5, Get Out Your Feelings. Today is September 22nd, 2024. This is episode 5, as we said, as a Gridiron Gang. We talk about everything about football season, what's going on in the state of Arkansas, especially within central Arkansas itself. The city of North Little Rock and Little Rock. First and foremost, I just like to say college football is heating up hotter than fish grease. Just to give you an example, I'll give you a quick overview of your top 10. Number 1, we got Texas. Number 2, we got Georgia. Number 3, Ohio State. 4, Alabama. 5, Tennessee. 6, Ole Miss. 7, Miami. 8, Oregon. 9, Penn State. 10, Utah. I want you to notice that first 4 of the top 5 teams are out of the SEC. I'll say it again. 4 of the top 5 teams are out of the SEC. A little bit about how their Saturdays went. Texas played the University of Louisiana Monroe. Score was 51-3. Georgia had a bye week. Ohio State played Marshall 49-14. Alabama had a bye week. Tennessee played Oklahoma 25-15. Ole Miss versus Georgia Southern 52-13. Miami versus South Florida 50-15. Oregon had a bye week. Penn State versus Kent State 56-0. Utah versus Oklahoma State 22-19. A few upcoming games next week, in case you didn't know. Um, Kentucky versus number 6 Ole Miss. Oklahoma State, number 20 Oklahoma State versus 23 Kansas State. Arkansas versus Texas A&M, number 24 Texas A&M in Dallas. I believe that's going to be a Jerry's World. Oklahoma taking on Auburn. Oklahoma's right now is number 21 Mississippi State versus number 1 Texas. Number 3 Ohio State versus Michigan State. Number 2 Georgia versus number 4 Alabama. I'm give you the time right now. 6:30 on ABC. Set your recorder. Might not want to hear that. And then we got Oregon versus UCLA. Right now, Oregon, yeah, like I said, is ranked at number 8. College football is really heating up. We are starting to see a lot of teams separate from each other. Um, for the most part, they can be a little bit entertaining. But then there are your games where you're playing those out of conference or mid-major schools, your Power Fives, and competing against some of those mid-major schools and just beating them mercilessly. That's another subject, I guess. Once we get down the line and we get going into what college football season is actually about, when we get into conference play, I'm gonna like to see some of those smaller ball games. In the next couple of weeks, you got Sun Belt, some other what is it? Even stuff like Mountain West, the MEAG, Pioneer, Southland, some of those things, some of those conferences are very competitive, whether people believe it or not. Uh, you can get found anywhere if you can play some football, put it like that. No matter where you go, no matter what school you attend, if you are a hard-nosed dude, people will come and check you out. People will come see you. Needed to make sense. So it doesn't matter where necessarily you go play. Um, you will get a full opportunity to be recruited. A little bit about the NFL. I'll give you a rundown right now. As we speak, the Chiefs are playing the Falcons. Looks like the Chiefs just tied it up 7-7. Um, Giants played the Browns today, 21-15. Giants pull out a victory. Packers, I don't know what's going on with the Titans. Packers versus Titans, 30-14. Bears versus Colts. The Bears lose to the Colts 16-21. Texans versus Vikings. Vikings slaughter them 34-7. Eagles, of course, beat the Saints 15-12 in a slow motion football game. Wasn't too entertaining. Not a lot of scoring, but it was what we paid for. Chargers versus Steelers. Steelers are 3-0, 20-10 over the Chargers. Justin Fields is 25 of 32, 245 yards and 1 touchdown. Keep in mind, Justin Fields was just traded to this team. They brought in a starter. He started the season, and they right now are undefeated. One thing I talked about early in the season, Justin Fields gets a chance to play, that team becomes consistent, then we can say bye-bye to Russell Wilson. Maybe next year. Broncos and Buccaneers 26-7. Broncos win. Panthers and Raiders 36-22. Panthers take the victory home. Dolphins and Seahawks. Seahawks beat the Dolphins 24-3. I believe that may be a reason because they don't have a quarterback. And just recently we learned that the Cowboys have lost again. It was a pretty interesting game. I'm not going to lie. It was 28-25. Lost to the Ravens. And then the 49ers lost the lead to the Rams. Those division games can get pretty tight, right? And the Lions beat the Cardinals 20-13. In other news, we'll talk about some things that'll be local. To talk about high school football itself. Um, and when I say this, I hope nobody gets offended. I just want to tell everybody that 7A football right now is down. We may have thought that some teams were going to play out of state and going to look good, with the exception of those who may play private schools. Um, it's really just not, I guess, until we play each other. I mean, that's when you can see the strength come about. Right now, we got 4 teams in the Northwest, well, 7A West, who have not seen a victory, and we have 2 teams in the 7A Central who have not seen victory. North Little Rock Southwest, both teams who have not won. Central High School picking up a victory. From what I've been told, it has been 4 years. Big shout out to the 3, as we call it. You may call it Central, where I'm from. We call it the 3. Big shout out to them. Uh, beating I want to say it was Rogers Heritage. Just getting a win under their belt, under their second-year coach, Anthony Robinson. Big shout out to them representing for what's going on in Central Arkansas, what we really need, some motion when it comes to football. But as a whole, it's really not too. I'm just saying record-wise, and I'm not taking for granted that some of these teams do play some tough opponents. Like, they're not playing Rudy Poos. They are playing some. I think even some teams went to Texas. Some teams played some teams in Oklahoma. Just didn't think that we would come out to be 0-3. So for everybody who is word jousting North Little Rock, I want you to take a look at some of these other schools. It ain't great. Springdale Harbor, Rogers Heritage, Bentonville West, and Bentonville. 0. But in other news, I think that, of course, I think we can all say or touch and agree that 5A is probably the most competitive. Of course, you got Little Rock Parkview. You got other teams like that's looking real good right now, like Morrilton. Even Brooklyn is undefeated. I mean, with 3-0. Valley View, Paragould. Uh, Trying to think of somebody else that I think would look real good. I'm still riding high on Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff, Joe T. Robinson, Cersei. Really still riding high on Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff is 0-3, but I think they did play some very credible opponents. I think they played a couple teams out of Texas and may have came short in their first go around. I heard the whole defense is back. Um, we look forward to seeing what they'll do down the year. Uh, 5A South pretty tough. Got Texarkana or Arkansas, High Canton, Fairview, DeQueen, Hope, Hot Springs, Lakeside, Little Rock, Parkview, and Magnolia. Um, Big time jousting match going on right there in that conference there. 5A looked pretty good. 6A for the most part. I'll give Benton some credit with after they played North Little Rock. They didn't. To me, I think they didn't just really jump out on film, but to see them actually perform in person, they are a pretty well-rounded team. Um, I think their only loss is to Bryant in the Salt Bowl, and they right now are 2-1 going into their conference playing time right now. Their conference there, 6A East got Benton, El Dorado, Jonesboro, Little Rock Catholic, Marion, Sheridan, Sylvan Hills, and West Memphis. Quite a few teams in that division who have not seen a victory as well. Um, Greenwood, of course, unblemished, unmatched, uh, and unseen right now. It's one thing that I try to stand by. Hey guys, we got to recognize the talent we have in this state, and we got to give credit to where credit is due. Uh, Not saying that Greenwood's gonna go undefeated, but it looks real good right now. You know what I mean? So we'll just take it with a grain of salt. Um, Big time football coming up next week. We got the first week of conference coming up, and we are looking forward to seeing how things turn out. I know me myself, North Little Rock is playing Pulaski Academy at home. Should be a good turnout. It's gonna be a good atmosphere for football. Weather should be um, moving in the right direction. It'll be a little cooler. Probably won't be as humid as this last weekend was, but it'll be a little cooler and look for a good turnout, especially from the fans of Pulaski Academy of just now getting into the 7A. And I think they are very excited about being in this conference. They are definitely playing like it. In other news, the big talk around town that I keep hearing from everyone about how Little League football is kind of down and they seem, non-competitive. One thing about it, man, I just have to give credit to some of the programs who are still hanging in there, still in that gauntlet of one, being able to play teams and be confident inside of those conference of what per se that they're playing in, and being able to deal with the recruiting measures that a lot of people are going through. And I'm not going to say recruiting because it's Little League. I'll say that they are migrating to some of the more dominant teams inside of the state, and they are essentially creating travel teams. I think that's very important that the kids get to go to another state to increase their competitive nature, be around some different ball players from a different state. Not only that, being able to go in and play against different teams who have different offensive and defensive settings. That way, they can do a lot more learning, which in turn increases the football knowledge and capacity in the state, not only in Central Arkansas, but the state of Arkansas. Um, we're looking forward to what's going to go on in high school football this week. Um, think about 2 weeks and get ready to take a group of guys to the Arkansas State football game. I think they're playing in Jonesboro. Not really sure who they're playing right now, but probably gonna have to take about 20 or 30 guys down there to look around, see what we can see if I can show these guys something different and put something different on their mind. Maybe they'll act a little differently when it comes to the game of football. That's what we're looking forward to. And I might not seem too excited about it right now. It's all about planning and it's all about execution. I believe, from my knowledge, just looking up some stuff on the internet real quick, Arkansas State is playing South Alabama. Both teams right now are 2-2. Arkansas State hasn't played a conference game, and South Alabama has played one. And both teams are 2-2. Get ready to play at 6 p.m. on October the 5th. So get ready to do stuff like that with some kids. Take them up there, show them something different, try to get them moving in the right direction, get them going and get them excited about the game and let them know the level of severity of the items and the things they're getting involved in. Um, But shout out to everybody who's dropping notes, who's leaving comments, sending me messages and stuff like that. Just off the rip, I just want everybody to know, man, this football stuff, coaching stuff, man, it is very, very tedious with your time. Even though I could admit and say that there's a little bit more freedom at the high school level as far as like the being bound to the classroom as much or as consistent in the hallways. But there is a whole lot more, with the exception of that time you are not bound once you move around, you move into a different academic setting. You are substituting that free time with dedication to your program and just the different things that you would get from Division I atmosphere or as a head coach when you have a lot of assistants. At this point, I don't personally, but there's a lot of groundwork that I do um, myself. I always tell people a lot of times that I need a secretary because of all the paperwork that I keep up with. Uh, on top of, trying to make sure kids are on top of their academic, trying to make sure kids are not running the hallway, trying to make sure they are successful in the classroom, doing follow-ups at homes, taking kids home, dropping them off, make sure they fed. I mean, the list goes on and on. But I guess if there was no risk, there will be no reward. And I'm very proud of that. It's something that I try to stand by to make sure that everybody gets taken care of, everybody gets fed. That way, not necessarily we could perform better, but we try to make sure we are delivering a family atmosphere. And I want all our guys to know that and make sure they feel that they are loved, they cared about. And then we're just being a part of a team. We're trying to make sure these guys know how to be on the team and make sure these guys are progressing within this team. And that's something I'm trying to instill in these guys because the atmosphere that I try to create in football is different than what they are used to. So it's something that I try to stand by to make sure that they are set and ready to go. With that being said, there's a lot of work to do at this point. My squad is 500, 2-2. Um, and I believe we just added another game to the schedule. We will confirm that on tomorrow, and we should have at least about 6 more games left. Get ready to go into a 3-week gauntlet where we got some tough teams or some tough opponents or some talented opponents that we're getting ready to play. Um, Bryant, Benton, and Conway. 3 weeks, one after the other, and then we go into the latter part of the season where we kind of just, got some repeat opponents that we get ready to face again. But to no avail, we are hoping that our high school could get in a better seat, a better position down into the school into the season. That way, if any of the guys that are playing at our level could participate going on down there. But everybody out here, if you're involved, please stay encouraged. If you got some kids you're dealing with, uh, thank you. Please stay encouraged when we go on down through this season. Something we get ready to do is going to be phenomenal. And good luck to everybody this upcoming week, man. I'm out. I'll see you guys soon as I possibly can. The schedule is tight, but I'm trying to do this more often. Appreciate you guys. Love you all. Can't wait to get this week started. Deuce.